And we should be live.
Dude, that potato dough. That potato. You see that potato? I hope you can see this.
That's a good potato.
It's a very good potato. It's ripe. It's like fully grown and, ready to go. You can see it's actually, it's not working that well. We'll have to fix that potato. Anyways. Welcome back, everyone who's joining us today for this awesome stream. I can tell it's going to be awesome because you guys are awesome. So when you're here, it's obviously awesome. We are going to continue on this painting and basically work our way through. And whenever you guys have a question, just feel free to ask, and we're here to answer.
Yeah.
For those who are joining us for the first time, or maybe you've seen some of the streams that Ash was doing, this one is we're basically painting something that could work in a game such as The Last of Us or any other game that has this abandonment feel to it. And we're basically doing an environment painting based on that. Based on that idea, we discussed what kind of idea that could be, and we're basically gonna, work on that and maybe do some changes along the way. But the whole point is to go through the whole process, and the way I think when I'm working on those images, and what are the most important things that happen during that time. Also for this one, I got a pleasure to have some of the assets, some of the nice photos from folks at photobash.org. So I'm plugging those motherfuckers because they basically allowed me to use shitloads of their assets for free.
Oh, so I'm just,
so I'm just giving back by saying go here on this site and buy the shit out of it. You can, because it's awesome. I mean, $2 for engines? What? What? You know what I mean? What?
Somebody said, first question, when are we going to see them new courses?
Oh, that is a question that requires an answer, but the answer is coming soon.
Yeah, we're going to be making some announcements.
We just hate to be so vague, but truth of the matter is we're working hard to get as much of it ready for you guys. Some of the courses that are coming out soon are going to be epic, and John can say that firsthand.
Hell yeah,
because he helps us editing them.
Yeah.
So he can say
amazing stuff.
Yeah, it's gonna be fucking rad, guys. One of the things that I would say is one of the reasons for which we are doing it slower, and I've said it many times, but it's never enough to set it enough,
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't mind repeating myself. Not everyone is on all those streams, so.
Someone said, when are we getting the announcement for the date of the announcement?
I don't know. That's not. That's another important question that cannot be. I think there has to be announced. All right, so let's do this. I'll announce next stream. I'll announce the announcement, but I won't announce when. I'll just announce.
What I think we can say is it'll be no longer than a month.
Yeah, I think so. I would say so. I wouldn't imagine this to be longer. One of the reasons, and again, it's just I couldn't finish my sentence before you jumped in with that question instead, is one of the things that one of the reasons for which we're taking much longer is that we are not trying to do courses just for sake of doing courses. We want to do courses that make sense that basically are great, are better than anything we've had before, or at least there is some kind of step up. We always want to improve the work we're doing and make sure that we're delivering the best possible content. It's not just like, oh, because normally what we could do is we could have fucking 20 courses a year, but what's the point? You would probably be interested in only 1/3 or even 1/5 of them, because everything else would be just repeating itself. You can totally do that. You can make a tutorial about custom brushes, and then you can make this tutorial 20 times just by changing some things, basically.
Yeah.
So that's not a point we want to be in. Like, that's not really what the school is about, and we're here to help you guys and help you to get the right workflows and do it. So anytime you're spending money on what we do, when you're buying courses, you're actually knowing that yeah, this is a legit shit. Like, we're not just jumping the gun here and just like, oh, here it is, buy it and get screwed. We don't want to do that. That's not how you build. That's not how you build school. The school itself, when you create a school, it's just Learn Squared, one of the best fucking things that happened in art education ever. When you decide to do that, there is one thing you learn quite quickly, is that you don't want to be running something that might be scammy or anything like that. You want to run something that without doing any commercials or any efforts towards advertising, people just talk about it because it's good.
Yeah.
When people talk about a product and they're saying it's great, that's the best thing you can have. You can spend money on a fucking commercial or whatever, but it doesn't mean it's a great product. And we don't want, that's something we're learning ourselves by looking at other businesses, not necessarily educational businesses, but overall, like, what is great, for instance, right? I'll give you a great example. I'm using this service called Postmates, which is quite big here in US, especially like Los Angeles area and whatnot. And what's great about it is I haven't seen any commercials about it. I just heard it by word of the mouth, and it's basically you're basically getting it's like a service. Like, let's say you want something from the restaurant, or you need something from Target, Like, let's say you want to have like a game controller, or you need like paper for your printer, and you're so fucking busy you cannot leave your home, or maybe you're a hobbit, or maybe you're afraid of people, whatever. You just open up your iPhone, punch in, what do you want to get, or where you want to get it from, see if it's available, and if it is, you're gonna get it within an hour. So it was many times for me, like, especially with deadlines, going out. There are moments where going out to get food makes financially no sense. Believe it or not. And especially when you have like tons of deadlines, and the last thing you want to think about is going into a traffic to get food. Yeah. It's like, fuck.
Life is becoming more efficient, man.
Yeah. I've been using it for like a year and a half, or maybe 2 years now. It's the greatest thing. It was so many.
Did you know there's one for like picking up like groceries and stuff? Have you heard of that?
Yeah, one? Instacart, right?
Yeah, something.
That's like what it's called. Yeah, it's fucking awesome. Crazy. I mean, look, let's say you pay like $5 or $6 for delivery, usually, more or less. I'm
gonna do some adjustments with your mic real quick.
Oh, so I know what it is, I think. How about now? Maybe that's better. You know what? I have a daughter that basically just sometimes walks in and do little changes on my soundboard, on my mixer, She's just like, oh, it's a knob. I'm gonna turn it all the way left. I think that's what happened.
Yeah, I had the thing blasting. It's better now.
Yeah. No, I had a knob for
Oh, okay.
expansion gate or a gate expander gate all the way up. So it basically was cutting in anytime I was talking and basically cutting out a lot of decibels that were not getting into the mic. So it sounded like I'm being constantly interrupted by something. Should be good now. But yeah, like it's $5, right? Or like $3 for getting a grocery, whereas otherwise you have to go stand in a line. I don't know, be in a traffic for half an hour just to get the grocery, depending, especially here in fucking LA.
Yeah.
With the shitty traffic, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Anything during the day, getting anything done takes an hour, regardless where it is. It's just like,
Sure.
even if there's no traffic, finding parking is a bitch, basically.
Yeah, just going to go get like diapers or like.
Yeah, exactly.
Even
right.
beer for like a party or something. You know, you could stay with the party and somebody.
Exactly. Like let's say you're having a home party and friends coming over and you forgot something, right? You just Instacart that ass. So.
It's great, man.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I've been enjoying it so far.
Next question says, might seem to be out of a subject, but will there ever be a chance of having Steven Messing on Art Cafe?
I've been talking with Steven. One thing you have to realize, very much like Vitaly, he's just so busy. He works on so many things at once, so it's really hard to get him on. And it's not because he doesn't want it, it's more because he's just too busy. So I'm just going to poke him until he's not busy enough and then get him on. So that's basically that's my plan, man. That's what I plan to do, man.
Sweet. This next question says, any tips or advice for getting ready for Intro to Environment course this fall?
I don't know. I mean, the course itself is so open-ended and broad that, regardless what kind of level you are going to learn out of it. If you're just just a beginner, or maybe you're just starting, you don't have that much of an experience in environment painting or painting in general, that's going to be enough. That course will give you that information that you need to get yourself started, and then you can always go back and repeat the homework and do it, differently, so that it fits, your new skill sets, if you know what I mean. I mean, if you want, obviously getting into foundation and architecture will get you prepared. But, I cover all those topics in the course itself. So it's not like you have to be prepared by knowing things beforehand. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to finish the course. That's never going to be a case. What we're trying to do, and that's the lesson I've taken from doing the futuristic character design course, because that one, when you work on the content, and as a teacher, you realize, I think it's easy thing to do, and then we realized that it's easy for us because we were teaching it, but it might not necessarily be easy for our students. So we quickly realized that and corrected that with the second release or the second courses that we released, including Intro to Environment Painting, and I think it was Ash's. Main title design, right? Where we made sure that we're not making assumptions. So even if the course itself requires you to have some prerequisite knowledge, it's gonna be stated on the site, and we'll make sure that it's there. So I would say that answers this question, but maybe it doesn't. What do you say, John?
I think so. I think it was a long-winded answer, full of greatness.
Full of greatness. What the fuck? that came out so weird, dude.
Greatness. It's full of greatness.
Greatness awaits you.
Next question
funny
says,
stuff.
what is, in your opinion, the best payment method for a freelance artist? question.
Best payment for freelance artist. I personally almost never work per, let's say, per like, I don't know how to put it together. I almost exclusively work per hour or per day payments. Basically speaking, if a client approaches me and asks what is my rate, how much I charge, I never say, oh, it's gonna be like this amount of money for the painting. I never do that. The reason being is that there are some clients for which you might create artwork and basically you know, they will be very cool with you and they won't ask you much for much of a changes and shit like that. You know, it's gonna be super mellow, super easy, straightforward and whatnot. But you also might have a client that you're thinking, okay, this is like the best job ever, legit studio, production designer that did fucking amazing job here and there, or art director from, you know, illustration company. You've seen this, all the illustrations, best game ever, fucking whatever that is, right? Your dream project. And you see that your supervisor is he's a great artist or whatever, but he might be so specific that, you know, it might take you forever to actually click and get things right. And one thing I've realized is those kind of people that have a very specific needs, you know, sometimes you might not be the right fit for the project, and that's fine. But you don't want to waste time having that realization where you just like, you know, let's say you agree that it's $1,000 for this painting, right? And you know it's gonna take you like a day or two, and then all of a sudden it takes you 5 days because, you know, your supervisor is constantly giving you fucking weird requests. Can you change color from red to blue?
I think
and then you do that, and can you paint more details in that fucking left corner? And it's like millions of small changes that are not covered. So for me, you know, when I say, hey, I work for this amount of money a day, and they say yes, then they can do whatever changes they want, because, you know, if they ask for too many changes, that's going to take a day or two to get it done, and they will have to, you know, cough it up. So for me, it's like it doesn't really matter at that point. They can get the product they want, and it's for them. It's just a matter of how far they are willing to go, you know, how much they're willing to pay, and without going you know, bankrupt or whatever, like without going over budget for what they need. There are obviously occasions where I would say, yeah, let's work on a fixed rate, but in that situations, I'm usually telling them, all right, for the fixed rate, you'll get this amount of work done. And I'm always usually very genuine, generally very genuine about how much can be done, right? And I'm giving them examples from my old work. This is what you're gonna get in a day. This is what you're gonna get in 2 days. Bear in mind, it's gonna vary a lot based on how complicated the scene is, not just the render style, but also how much stuff is happening there. And you're only allowed for 1 or 2 revisions. Any extra revision costs this amount of money, you know? And then they want to add revisions and make stupid changes, like like, let's say, can we completely change camera angle on that painting that you've been working on for a week? I would say yes, it's going to take 5 days and it's going to cost you this amount of money, and that's it. And then they either say yes or no. I mean, some people just don't understand, especially when you work with with clients that are not necessarily artists, and they're just, they're not experienced enough to know that. Whoa. Sorry for that.
Why you?
Forgot. Me. Why me? No, sorry for that. I just forgot to turn off my phone for this one. But generally speaking, yeah, I would say, yeah, I mean, some clients just don't know. Like, they just literally, maybe it's the first time they're hiring someone. They are maybe not demanding so much stuff, but they just don't know. And when you work on a daily rate, they at least they have an expectation of how much it's going to get done and all that stuff. Whereas if you accept a rate and don't put any boundaries, then that's when you're becoming really vulnerable, because last thing you want to do is you want to agree. Like, last thing you want to do is agreeing on a project, agreeing on a rate, and not setting up boundaries. Because I know from personal experience and experience of other really high level artists where they forgot about doing that, or maybe they were assuming that it's going to be a straightforward job, where I can tell you about a very good artist that a lot of you guys might know. I'm not going to say exactly who and what project, but that artist was working on illustrations for a card game, and he agreed, all right, I'm going to get paid this amount of money per day or per card, because it's, I mean, based on what he saw, like different illustrations done for that game. That's probably about amount of time I'm gonna spend. So this is the amount of money that I'll have to get for that. And they agreed. And then that artist realized that that company comes back with 30 fucking revisions. So an artwork that would take a day took a week.
That's a lot of good information there for them.
So you don't want to be in that situation. You don't want to be where you have to freaking work your ass off just to be cool with the client. Because what last thing you want to do, by the way, is agree on something and then say, like, wait a minute, but you're having too many revisions. They don't care. Like, once you agree, you have to do it. If you don't do it, then that's a bad thing. If it sucks, just bite the bullet and just finish it, and it's going to be a lesson for you for the next time. But never be in a situation where it sucks, therefore I'm not going to do it, because that's the most unprofessional thing you can do, and that's going to have serious repercussions.
So the question, though, was, what is, in your opinion, the best payment method for a freelance artist?
Daily. Work for daily rate, or work for hourly rate. And if you cannot do that because the client says no, then work for make a choice where you are basically having the limit of revisions, how many revisions you can make during that time. I'm gonna make this, and then any extra changes you want to do gonna cost you this and this.
Nice. The next question for you says, Maciej, if you could send some tips/suggestions to young Maciej on the potato farm to prepare him for your career, what would these be? I mean, both art related and non-art related. Good question.
Ooh, it's a good. I mean, well, we had a similar question last night, or yesterday actually. It wasn't even a night. When I had Koro on the Art Cafe, and someone asked us a very similar question, and I would say the answer is very simple. I wouldn't change a thing. Obviously there are moments in your life when you're making really stupid choices, and then you're learning them to be those really stupid choices by just experiencing, the fallout, right? The problem is, if you don't if you don't experience the fallout or the fallout of of your stupid choices, then how are you going to learn? And there are obviously things in life that happen, and you made like really really bad mistake based of emotions maybe or something, and then you would really want to turn back time. And I don't think I had anything in my life that I would say I regretted so much that if I could turn back time, it would make my life better. I think the lessons I've taken from even the biggest and most dire mistakes outweigh would outweigh the benefit of going back in time and correcting them. And that goes back to art itself as well. Um, because the things I've learned by making big mistakes made my art better. Like I've realized this is not the way you do it, this is the way you do it. And once you learn that, you become a better artist. The problem becomes when you're not learning anything and you're just ignoring hallmarks of mistakes. Someone said recently, I don't know who, so I'm quoting that person, all credit goes to that person, whoever that person was, that you either learn or you either win or you learn. Which means if you lose or fail, that's when you learn. That's when you actually see what went wrong and what could have been done better. And once you see what could have been done better, you react to it and you make it happen. So I don't think I would change anything. Looking in retrospect on my life, and whether it's a personal life, personal choices, or whatever. I mean, there are a few things that I would probably, knowing how they turned out to be, like a few projects that I would say no to, maybe. Few things that you do when you're emotional and you're not looking at the consequences of what you say and how people might react. But nothing so dire that I would say like I would just wish I could turn back time and change it.
Eat less potatoes, huh?
Yeah. You know what? As much as a potato legacy is haunting me, I'm not really a potato eater.
So funny. This one says, I recently did a freelance per painting, as in, I guess he got paid per painting, and it sucks because I will always have to do something besides the painting.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the client comes back and say like, can you maybe change all the humans in that painting into orcs?
Mm-hmm.
Or I like the painting, I like the camera, but can you make it like 90 degree in a different direction? Or can you change the daylight into sunset? That kind of those are usually things that I would hear, and I was just like, what in the fuck? What are you talking about? No, I can't. Well, I can. I was just gonna take so much time. So
this next one says, go ahead.
No, just go ahead, man.
So how do you keep your motivation when you have bad moments in your life? Because painting needs passion and motivation, but when you have bad moments, sometimes it's difficult to keep it up. Do you have some tips to keep you motivate your motivation and passion strong?
I don't know, dude. I think motivation is the hardest part of being an artist. The problem becomes it becomes a problem when you're working on something that you're not excited about from the get-go. But regardless of your motivation towards any project that you're going to be on, there's going to be moments where you're going to hate it, and that's when you see the difference between a professional artist and an amateur. Professional artists, regardless of whether they hate or love the project, they will always finish it. They'll always make sure that, especially if it's for a client, they will not disappoint. They will not find excuses to make it worse. They will find excuses to make it better. If you're trying to make an excuse to get out of the project because you hate it, I bet you're not going to be succeeding in your professional life as an artist, unless you're incredibly lucky. You have to accept the fact that you're going to hate half of the things you're doing. It seems very weird, right? Because it's a passion. You love painting. It's the greatest thing you do. You're making money on things you love to do. But make no mistake, you're going to hate it. You're going to hate it. Because every project you're going to work on, unless... Let's put it this way. There are some people that can focus on one thing for years and never get tired of them. And be like, holy shit, painting grass for... fifth sequel of The Last of Us is the greatest thing on earth, and I want to do it until I die. There's going to be an artist like that, for sure. But the majority of us, I don't think we have brains that work that way. And, even on your dream project, you're going to find out that your dream project is a dream project for first month or two, and then eventually it becomes one of the many projects that you work on, and eventually just you're going to be so tired of it that you're going to be wishing it's over. And I can tell every single project I worked on was exactly that way. I was super stoked when I started, put my all of my best effort towards it, and then a month in I was just like, when is it over? You know what I mean? And you're going to have those moments where like you're going to be, tired of it, and then you're going to have like a second wind, and it's just going to be amazing again. And it usually happens when, the assignment changed for whatever reason, and there's something more cool to work on that project. But in majority of cases, I would say most of the projects I worked on, I was tired of them at some point. So there's also an advice that I would give to artists that are starting on the project that they think is like a godsend, right? Like, holy fuck, this is the best thing that happened. It's like a second coming of Jesus for me. And I would say, and I said this to a couple of friends that started working in film, for instance, and I said, dude, I know you're excited. I know you want to work 24 hours on this first painting. Don't. Just do it. Just do a regular painting. Just do your best for the normal time you would spend when working on anything else. And if you're really excited, maybe first week you can add a little extra percentage here and there. But don't, it's fine if you want to work for 8 hours and you end up working 10. That's fine. But then you have to accept the fact that from now on, that's your expectations. That's what the client's going to see and expect of you every single time. If you're ready for that, well, then go ahead and use that route. If you're not ready for that, if you're not ready to put 10 hours a day on that project and getting paid for 8, if you're not ready for that, then don't do it, because the worst thing you can do is set up expectations and then not deliver on those expectations. So I've seen this happen a lot, where you get excited about a project, you fucking blast it off, you make the best painting ever for like the first 5 paintings, they're the best ever, and then you're just tired. Like, fuck, I don't want. I've been sitting. I've been pulling all-nighters to get that shit done, but it seems to never end. What the fuck? So, I know, I realize it's like it's like a complaint to have, right? I mean, in the end, we're just creating pictures on screen and getting paid for that. And it's really not that much you can complain about compared to, other jobs. I've been janitor myself, so
Yeah.
I've seen the both sides of it, or both both worlds, and I would never want to switch and do anything else than what I do. It's just like no, I want to stick to what I'm doing right now and keep doing it regardless whether it sucks or not.
That's
So
it's a good way of
you
seeing
know.
it.
Yeah,
Good stuff.
good stuff, dude. I'm going off tangents here, right?
Yeah, you are. That's why I kind of interrupting. I need to start interrupting.
Yeah,
more.
interrupt me. Be an
It's
asshole.
like, all
interrupt
right,
me.
question is answered.
Questions answered.
No, it's good information.
Just
though.
do
You're
this.
doing good stuff.
Questions answered. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up on your own stream.
All right, next question. Let's see if you could answer this within 5 minutes.
All right.
All right.
Let me
says,
try.
What do you think of Mega Scans in Suite 2? Have you tried it yet? It looks more straightforward than Substance. Mega Scans in Suite 2.
It does. It's definitely easier to use. I've tried Megascans just briefly. I'm gonna probably try them on as an experiment during one of the projects that I'm working on, and see how it works. If it's as robust as it seems to be. One of the things I like about Megascans is, I mean, even disregarding whether the ZBrush assets or FBX or OBJ models are good or not, even just discarding that completely, the first thing I'm gonna be interested about is how good of a quality the maps are, because when you understand how to build shaders in render engines, the one thing that always works for your advantage is having the maps that work, that like really good maps. And if you don't have them, then it's creating a realistic shader becomes problematic. So that's what I always look forward to. I've been using RDTs, real. I can't remember how. What's the full name of it? Real time or real displacement textures. I think that's what the full name is. And I can tell you that some of them are amazing, and most of them look great from the distance. Quite a fair amount of them fall apart in the close-up. So that's my experience with RDTs so far, and I have a bunch of them. I've been using them for professional and personal work, and they've saved me a ton of time. So it's not like I'm bashing, oh, it fucking sucks, man, I hated it. No, I loved it, but I can see limitations of it. So, and I'm just wanna the thing I'll be looking at. I'll report on that as we go. But I'll be looking forward to see if Megascans deliver that more of the close-up, performance as well, not only just the distance performance.
Yeah, he said, I wonder if it could work nicely for concept work. It seems the bridge with Max
Oh,
and
definitely.
Cinema will be really good for speed. That is why
If
I was considering Suite. It looks like it could be more efficient for concept work.
Oh, for sure. I mean, for concept art, it's good enough already. I mean, I'm more concerned about what I like to do is I like to have those really realistic renders when I'm designing as well, right? Because it always impresses the client. Like, fuck, it looks so real. Regardless of the design, I usually spend, like these days, I spend most of the time on the design, but I always want to have that quality of the render that the client is expecting, because they that's what they see when they're hiring me. So
The next question for you, Sir Maciej, says,
no need for sir.
can somebody with no traditional skills, who can't draw a line but who has good skills in 3D, basically prosper as a concept artist? Is that
You're gonna
possible?
need to learn foundation if you want to be a concept artist. You will just have to learn foundation. There's no shortcut for that, I would say. 3D kind of lets you to bypass some of the foundation skills that you might require for painting. For instance, perspective, because it's already in 3D. No lighting, because you can light it in 3D, or that kind of stuff. But understanding color theories, actually knowing how to draw in perspective, and then learning design principles and learning how to paint and draw, all those things are basically required in most cases to be concept artists. I mean, there are outliers out there that don't really paint that much, are mostly 3D artists, and they do well at doing 3D concepts. But most of them can draw. Maybe not on the absolutely professional top level, but they can draw. They understand foundation. If you don't understand foundation, even though you're doing something in 3D that might look interesting, it might still lack that ingredient that will turn it from a good concept to great concept.
Cool.
So I would say it doesn't really matter how old you are and when you're starting. It matters that you decided, all right, I want to be a concept artist, which means I have to start thinking as a concept artist, getting into foundation and all that.
Yeah, consistency, right? Too.
Yeah.
Another question says, are we going to see some of Aaron Beck's goodness on Learn Squared?
Aaron Beck. I don't know. It's a good question.
That's a good question.
That's a good question.
How much?
We are friends with Aaron as well. I mean, me and Ash know Aaron very, very well. I actually roll in jiu-jitsu time to time with Aaron.
Nice.
But much like a lot of people that we know, and much like ourselves, we are all really busy people. So it's all like a wish, and then when it clicks, it happens.
Next question for you says, how much time do you have for non-working stuff every week? It kind of amazes me how you find time to stream while teaching, while working for multiple major studios.
I don't.
That's pretty much
it.
It.
Problem. I find myself constantly running the catch-up game. Well, maybe not constantly, but it happens every now and then. The planning that I usually do involves a fair amount of, what if this disaster happens, right? So when I plan my week, I plan for a lot of things that I plan to do, and then what if something goes wrong? I plan for that as well. But sometimes you get so many things that go wrong in a week, then it becomes like, fuck, what now? Mm-hmm. And I found myself in that pickle quite a few times already, and it's not an easy thing to deal with. I believe it or not, but I reject most of the projects that I'm getting because I just literally have no time to do them. And I'm not trying to sound like I'm bragging. It's more of I've learned over time how much can be done in a day, and how much I can do for how long before I go really mad and crazy, before I get so tired that my productivity level becomes impossible. And you have to realize where your limits are, and when you realize your limits, that's when you start planning more accordingly. And that's what you want to be. You want to plan accordingly. You want to plan for the worst case scenario, and then whatever is left out there in your gas tank, then you can use it for personal work or maybe family, whatever, right? So it's just a matter of right planning, honestly.
Someone said you have a clone that's made of potato doing all the work.
Of course. You don't realize that, but right next to my desk there is a sack of potatoes that are basically it's a AI potatoes. It's a nano robot potatoes, and they're basically doing all the major work for me, and I'm just sitting there and and farting.
Next question says, any chance of art cafe merchandise or apparel designed by you or Ash, etc.? And in terms of
Yeah.
merchandise, do you have a favorite art book?
We're gonna be doing the cups, mugs. We're gonna be doing mugs. Maybe T-shirts. I don't know. I just have to. Again,
Oh, I love wearing.
someone asked
t-shirts.
about having
Badass
time.
designs.
That's the one thing I don't have time for.
I mean, yeah.
That's the one thing I want to do that would directly, considering the amount of love I'm getting from you guys, from the community, and all the effort that I'm trying to put towards the art cafe. I think that would be a helpful thing to do for me, but it's just like I don't have time. So, but it's gonna happen. It's in plans. We're gonna have mugs. We're gonna have mugs and maybe T-shirts. We'll see.
Send me that art cafe mug. Actually,
Yeah.
I'll see you Saturday. So bring it.
I'll bring it.
Yeah. All right. Next
Yeah,
one
boy.
says, are you planning on doing a course on Learn Squared about creature design? How about it?
I probably not, because I rarely ever work as a creature designer. I maybe had 1 or 2 jobs where I did it briefly, so I don't feel like I'm the right person to do this. I'd rather have a badass creature designer to join Learn Squared and do it, rather than me trying to push it and learn it and then push it up your ass and trying to say like this is the right thing to do, man. I don't want to do that. I'd rather focus on the things I know and I know they work in the industry, and I know they're bulletproof. It's like a blueprint. If you use it, you can work in the industry. I'd rather teach that rather than something that I'm experimenting with and like maybe it's gonna work and maybe not. It's it's up to you if you're good enough or not. It's just like no, that's bullshit. Follow my formula. That works.
Makes sense.
If you don't follow it, then you can figure out your own formula. But I'm not gonna sell you bullshit telling you, yeah, totally, this is what you should do, and then you come back and say like, well, I tried it and what the hell, it didn't. Like I don't want to deal with that. It's stupid. It's a scam.
Next question says, is a drawing tablet necessary for this kind of work or in the line of work?
Yes.
Next question
yes, it is. You don't want to draw with mouse unless you're Craig Mullins.
Yeah. I saw that, man.
If you're Craig Mullins level, then you probably can pull it off. If you're not, then forget it.
Another question says, can you send any extra projects my way?
What I do is I send a lot of extra projects to friends that I know and I trust. And the reason I say I trust is because the last thing I will do is send a project towards a person that I think is a great artist, but I don't know personally, and I don't know if that great artist follows up with artwork, how he takes criticism, how he takes feedback, if pushed to deadlines, if he can do it or not. I know a few artists that I can trust that they will always deliver if they have time to pick up the project. If they do pick up the project, the client's going to be happy. Last thing, it's when you have a client and you cannot work with them, you're still building up a relationship with that client. And if you send them a person that you assume is good and that person totally drops the ball, then what does it say about you? Like, what kind of friends you have? Like, if your friends are fucking up so much, you're probably fucking up too. If you have friends like that, that kind of mentality, and you don't want to be in that spot. You don't want to deal with that bullshit. So, I'm more than happily share work with friends that I know and I trust, and I know that when they pick up a project, they will deliver no matter what. They will fucking sit till the late night, don't sleep, and all that jazz, but they will deliver. And I know for a fact, not from personal experience, but for experience from friends that have been doing that and been doing this with people that they don't necessarily know that well. when they dropped the ball and the client said like, "Well, what the fuck," right? Like you're sending me this asshole that doesn't want to finish a project because I'm doing changes that I'm required to do. Like, what the hell? You'll be surprised how many people are getting really pissy when they are required to do changes to the artwork that they're asked and paid for. So.
And the next one says, when photo bashing is acceptable to run the image through iPhone Paint apps, Waterlog, iColorama, etc., to achieve a painterly look quickly. Is that acceptable? Essentially.
Dude, do whatever you want, man. It's just tools. If you want to run it through an app that makes it look like you painted it by hand and that's what you're after, and if it works for a client, then fucking do it. What is stopping you from doing it? I don't think there's anything wrong with doing that.
Jama has the process that he teaches as well, and he's like jumping into Google Maps, taking imagery from Google Maps just randomly, and then doing essentially that, just making.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about tools, and your client will not give a flying fuck how it's done, unless it's an artist, and there's a specific reason why he needs to know. Well, let's put it this way: I had a director that I worked with, and he usually asked me questions about how I do stuff, and I would be really open with him, and he was like, "Oh, that's fucking cool," but I never had like, "Whoa, that's cheating," you know what I mean? Some directors are actually, they're investing their own time to actually learn painting, all that jazz, and I guess the wrong thing to do would be to use an app and then try to shove it someone else's ass and say like, this is all painted. I painted it with square brush, 1 pixel brush kind of thing, and you were trying to sell it as that's the right thing to do. Don't lie. Be open.
Next one says,
if you use references or textures, be open about it. And if someone gives you shit for it, then ignore that person.
Next one says, I feel stuck on making art. I'm working every day on something, but these days it feels to me like torture when I'm planning to sit and work on something. Why does that happen, and did you ever feel this way?
Yeah, it happens a lot, actually. You get just burned out, and you just need there's 2 reasons for it. You either need a break, like a real break where you just don't do anything, or you need to find something extra else to do, something that is not necessarily related to your daily work, whether it's like training, jiu-jitsu, or anything, I'm selling jiu-jitsu right here. Damn, Daniel.
Damn.
But I would say like physical activity usually helped me a lot. Like anytime I would be, hitting the wall, like, fuck, I really need to do this, and I can't because I'm burned out. And like, what the fuck? Now go for a run.
Yeah.
And because when you run, when you do any exercise, you're creating endorphins, and endorphins themselves, fire up your brain to function a little better, a little faster. Your creative parts of brain become more active, and then all of a sudden you start to think about things you didn't think about before, or you might find a solution to a problem you're facing. So
go on a run.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
It's the easiest thing to do. Just go on a run, or even a walk, like a brisk walk for an hour. It's gonna be better than anything else.
Next question says, do you think you are better prepared for a post-apocalyptic world than others? I mean, you see it on a daily basis. You're just you see all these different destroyed environments.
I can tell you what, I think if the world would gone to absolute shit, like The Last of Us, or like a zombie apocalypse, I would probably fuck. Why would you want to live in that kind of world
Shit.
where you don't have Postmates?
Postmates. Ah. Too privileged, man. All right. Next question says, I feel stuck. I already posted that twice, actually. I have a question from Jay. What is something you've learned over your years or experiences that you wish you knew or learned when you were first starting out? Not sure if this was asked or answered before. But
Yeah, someone asked a very similar
Yeah.
question before, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of answered it.
Yeah, just go back to about, I'd say, 25 minutes in. This one says, actually, that's pretty much all the questions for now.
Oh, good. Oh, good. Keep them coming.
But somebody did have a statement with, going out and running. It's also important to interact with people too, right? It's like,
Yeah, for sure.
get out, do something.
Dude, those photos from those folks at photobash.org, man, just fucking juicy.
Yeah, somebody just asked, where do you get all those great references and stock images from? Sometimes it's really frustrating to search.
.org.
He said sometimes it's really frustrating to search for good images, especially when you have a final image in your head.
I honestly, a lot of textures I'm getting from textures.com. Like, fucking free, easy solution for your problems. And if you want to get a subscription, it's super cheap too. And it's totally worth it. Because you're going to have a consistent quality of a texture itself, whereas searching over internet might not necessarily deliver the right results and might not necessarily be the right solution either. So,
next question. Are you guys familiar with State of Art Academy and the stuff they do? Do you plan on bringing someone to the show from there?
State of Art? No, I haven't heard about those guys. It's the first time I'm hearing about it.
Yeah, I didn't hear anything
Yeah,
about them too.
I'll have to check that.
State of Art.
I'm curious what that is. I'm gonna make that derelict wooden pillars. The paint chipping off and shit.
Sick.
Yeah, dude.
Another question for you says, maybe it's a bit personal, but have you ever had problems in your personal relationship because of all the time required to make it as the concept artist you are today?
I don't think there's any artist that never had issues with that. It depends, like what who you're with, and if that person really supports what you do. The best thing you can do is make sure that both sides understand expectations, and if you do that, if both sides know, okay, this is what I expect of you, and it would be nice if you would deliver on those expectations, and then you say, wait a minute, that's like a lot to be expected of, then just be honest about it. Don't say like, yeah, it's all good, we'll make it happen, and then you don't, because that's the last thing you want to do. I think anyone who has a family and wants to balance a family life with work knows how hard it is sometimes, especially when you run into deadlines and all that stuff. And I usually try to put expectations out there and say, look, this is what I do. This is what's paying the bills, especially if you're paying the bills or not, or this is just a temporary thing. I'm going to work this way for next 2 months, and then after that I promise that I'll have some more free time, and I'm not going to take on additional projects. You have to find and fight your battles the right way. You just cannot commit to one end and then neglect the other, because that's not gonna end up well. It's like, what do you want to do? What is the most important thing for you? I know artists that are solely focused on art and they don't give a fuck about anything else. I know artists that, rather spend more time with family. It's all, very subjective. It's all in your head. It's all you. And, if you're gonna try your hardest to change the way you are personally, that might not be a solution either. So it's just managing expectations, finding the right answers, and being honest about it, and then finding boundaries. Like let's say if you have family and you need time for family, then you better have that time for family, because otherwise, why do you even have a family, right? That's the thing I would say. So you just need to find the right balance, I guess, and just have a lot of conversations.
Next question says, any chance of a portfolio review episode? Send in ArtStation site and get 1 or 2 minutes each. Just quick pointers. Asked earlier, not sure if it was answered or not.
We kind of do this, right?
Yeah.
On some of the sessions. I'm not sure if we're gonna do it tonight or today, but definitely gonna do it the next session.
Okay.
We grab like a few paintings. John, where are you getting those paintings
So
from?
yeah, as long as they're part of the community, just posting on our website your drawings that you did for Learn Squared and all that. That's where we're gonna be sharing it. So
Yeah.
I'm picking from there randomly and then sending it to Maciej, and he'll go over.
So for now, it's that. We're considering with Ash to expand it a little more, maybe in the future. We'll see. It's just we have to. Again, it's like I was talking about fighting battles. Like that's the one we have to fight. Really, find out where we have time and what kind of efforts we want to put where it makes sense.
Exactly.
Because as much as we want to do everything, we just don't really have time to do everything. And sometimes you just run out of time to do the things you want to do. That's why, we try to reply to all the questions. We try to reply to people that, message us directly. But at some point, you're not going to be able to do it, especially, when there's more messages than normally, or, that kind of stuff.
What was the website you got the stock photos from? Again?
Photobash.org, I believe.
Photobash.org. Alright. Yeah, and then it's 2 o'clock. We'll take one more question. You cool with that? And then we'll head out.
Yeah, it's photobash.org.
Okay.
This is a site run by Jonas DeRoe, Wojtek Fus, and I think a few more. I'm actually going to find out who's the team there. Who are those people? Who are you? I want to know.
So last question is going to be, hey Maciej, what are your thoughts about composition, structure, and tangents in illustration? And how does it work for you?
Sorry, I was trying to find out who are the people behind Photobash.org. I know it's Wojtek Fus and Jonas DeRoe for sure, but I'm pretty sure there's more people involved in this. Can you repeat the question? Sorry, I was distracted here.
So what are your thoughts about composition, structure, and tangents in illustration? And how does it work for you?
Composition, tangents, and that kind of stuff in painting. I actually do cover a lot of that jazz in my course, Intro to Environment Painting. I actually have a full chapter about tangents. It's important to know what tangents are. I believe it's a part of foundation where when you understand how tangents work and how to use composition and all those things, then it's much easier to produce a painting that is more believable and more realistic and whatnot, right? It's kind of coming back to the same question that was asked before. If you can be, if you're a 3D artist, can you be a 2D artist and all that? It's Yeah, it's foundation, and foundation is probably the most important thing for an artist, whether you're an illustrator, even just 3D artists. Really, I mean, there are 3D artists that are good, but they could have been so much better if they spend a little bit of time, on foundation, on perspective, on color, on light theories, and all that stuff. I think anyone or everyone will benefit of knowing foundation and knowing how to use colors and composition and perspective and all that, regardless what you do as an artist, because it's just basically it's opening up many doors for you to create something better.
Awesome.
Just knowing that, knowing how color, like, even if, like, for instance, when you know what lighting does and how it works, right? Then making a lighting choices and picking up the right lighting for your scene will be easier, or creating more realistic results on your scene will be easier, because you'll now pick the lights that make sense and make it better and more realistic. Knowing composition and studying film will allow you to make more cinematic lighting. Maybe knowing composition will allow you to put the lights in the positions where they will separate subject matter and put the emphasis where it's supposed to be, and it will make it much easier for you to control the composition that way. Just from the lighting itself, you can do a lot of things with the lighting and composition. Not even thinking about composition rules for, like, rule of thirds and symmetrical or whatever the fuck, right? Just purely lighting. You can compose your painting just purely with lighting, So
Awesome.
Having that knowledge helps. It's I would say it's a requirement if you want to be better than average,
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, that'll be it for the questions, sir.
Oh, yes. Yes, yeah.
It's a good stream, man. Good job.
Yeah, dude. That was fun.
Questions.
Ugh,
I see you
fucking time is
progressed
flying,
a lot
guys.
on your painting.
God damn
too.
it. Huh?
Said you progressed a lot on your painting this time around.
Yeah, I
too.
try to get more focus on the painting this time, while answering questions and maybe getting less distracted. But still sort of like answer all the questions you guys had. But yeah, definitely a little more progress.
Awesome.
It's still not as fast as I would work normally, so yeah, but it does help to get a little more focus.
Yeah.
Get a little more focus, guys. Yeah, I think we're not getting there. Come on, it's maybe 50% of what I want to do here.
Sure.
But step by step, slowly but surely, we're gonna populate this scene to make it fucking radical.
Sweet.
And amazing, and we're gonna add characters and explosions and aliens and fucking starships and Death Stars and yeah, I mean,
Death Stars. Why not? You should
Yeah,
add
why
one
not?
of those.
No, we're gonna
zombies
make it awesome
from
for
The
sure.
Last of Us.
Just to sort of like, before we wrap it up, the stage of a painting, sort of just to give you maybe a more of a insight or more of a context of what is happening on the screen. This stage of painting for me is populating the scene before I start merging things together so that they work cohesively together. So I do a fair amount of a little bit of like overpaints here and there, where when I'm pasting a texture, I'm making sure that it fits the overall color scheme, and the colors are right, and the lighting is correct, that the texture is sitting with the right lighting and all that. It's like, for instance, the texture here, it's catching the right light from this element right here, this opening. All those things matter for me, but I'm not, this is not finished. I would probably go in and do a lot of cleanup right here, but I'm not going to do it now. I'd rather have the whole scene set up like this, where I'm just going to basically pull in everything that I feel fits the scene and narrative of the scene, and once the narrative of the scene and every element of the scene is there, then I'll go in and start correcting errors and cleaning it up. So that's the plan.
Awesome.
All right, guys. I'll catch you later. Skater,
Cool.
Brader, Bragio.
Have a good day. Have a good weekend. Peace.
Yeah, guys. I will see you guys next week, same time, same day.
Mhm.
So thanks for joining us today. Thanks for being live with us, and yeah, I'll see you later.
Peace out.
Peace out.
And